everybody. So am I audible? Great. Okay. So today's session is slightly interesting. Firstly, thank you so much for being here. So ideally, you would be an SAP ECC user if you are here today. And before we even start getting into any of the discussions, what I really want to insist is that this is not a webinar wherein we are pitching anything or making you move towards S/4HANA. That is not what the aim of this webinar is. The webinar has been specifically curated because we want you as an SAP ECC user to get clarity. Because most of the ECC users, they are very confused because currently, you all are just bombarded with dates. So 2025 support is ending, 2027 support is ending, you have the extension till 2030. So there is a lot of confusion, and because of this, there is no clarity. So what this session aims to bring to you is basically to make you understand what's changing, what's not changing, what you really should be worried about, or what you should be considering. So if you're leaving this session feeling calmer, feeling more clearer, then definitely we are pretty happy about it. So one more thing, if by the end you realize that S/4HANA is still the right path for you, then that's great. But we are going to be telling you clearly what the scene is from our end. So now going to the main thing, which is ECC support isn't shutting down. Now, this is the first main thing. Let's just understand this clearly. The SAP ECC support is not really shutting down in 2027. It's not like it's a switch off button. There's going to be no blackout. There's no forced lockout from your system. What's actually going to happen is that the mainstream maintenance is going to be ending by SAP in 2027. Now, this particular thing is very important to understand. So like I said, your ECC system is still going to function. It's going to let users come in, log in, post goods, receipts, invoices, run your MRP production, close your financials. So it's not like anything is going to magically stop working. But SAP is offering an extended maintenance until 2030. However, this is a paid, selective, and not a very automatic process. So for those who are on older ECC versions, especially if you're on the enhancement pack from 0 to 5, there are some milestones which are coming in, say, by 2025. So that's where you need to understand that the ECC doesn't really die. It's just that it's the safety cushion which is around it is what is going to slowly disappear. So moving to what's the end of mainstream support. What is it that we are really talking about out here? So think of this like as if ECC is like a factory machine that you have been running for like 15 years. So after 2027, this machine is still going to start running. It's still going to continue running. But the main manufacturer, he is stopping to actively make any improvements on it. So what really is not happening is that your business is not stopping. So it's not like your software is going to stop or freeze or anything of that sort. The processes which are existing are going to still continue. But what is going to change is that there are going to be fewer standard legal updates. The security patches are going to become limited or they will be paid. The compliance justification is going to become harder. And SAP innovation, the main aim here is that they want you to basically move to SAP S/4HANA. So the idea here is that the risk is not disappearing. It's just that the platform is changing and it's changing ownership. So earlier, SAP had absorbed a lot of that risk. And after 2027, more of it is basically in your bucket. It's as per what you are wanting. So staying compliant, secure, and justified becomes very expensive every year. So if you are on ECC enhancement pack 0 to 5, then the deadline is actually going to be December 2025 and not 27. And that's going to be this year. So if you're not sure which enhancement pack you're on, that's the first conversation that you need to have with your SAP team, because the timeline is going to change everything. And what's the real cost of standing still? So ideally, a lot of organizations would say that, yeah, my ACC is working fine and I don't really need to move. But let's just break this down. So the first thing that you see on the slide is security and compliance risk. So after mainstream support, the routine legal and security updates reduce. The auditors also, they don't really accept SAP didn't provide it as a very valid answer. So the responsibility will shift internally to you. So, for example, an auditor could definitely ask you that, your ECC version is not getting any security patches anymore. So, who is going to be responsible for compliance? So, ideally, the auditor is going to point out the finger to you and not to SAP, because that's where the shift is actually happening. When you move to operational stagnation, you see that a lot of modern ERPs, they are built for real-time visibility. ECC is also working the same way, but it was designed in a very different era. So over time, reporting, speed, and planning accuracy, all of this is going to definitely suffer the responsiveness. So competitors who are using modern systems, they will be able to close their books within a few days, but you are still going to take multiple days in doing the same. Your production issues are not going to be seen in real time. So there are multiple gaps that you are going to be facing if you still continue on ECC plan. Now, similarly, your competitors, now they are not necessarily, they probably are thinking smarter, and they probably want faster decisions and they want to close faster. So they would take a sensible step ahead. The other thing here is that there's going to be talent drain. So the support doesn't really get easier. It gets more harder, it gets more expensive. And the ABAP expertise is really shrinking. So what we see in the market is that there are very few people who are wanting to work on legacy systems like ECC. But people, they are wanting, basically, what they are wanting is that they want to add up to the cost for the software. So they want to feel safe. At the same time, they want to pick up a software which is modern, which is more revolutionary. And why is it that ECC was the backbone? So definitely it's because it had actually worked and it was a very good system. No doubt finance was talking to logistics and logistics was talking to production, and everything was sort of working well. The goods receipt triggered, the inventory updates, the accounting postings, cost impacts, all of this used to happen pretty well. So that is the reason ECC was not really just like a software. It was something that was a big name to everybody. And the ones who are really using it, like you, definitely know what is the value that it gave in your organization. And definitely that's where the trust factor increases. But here's what really happens, that, where there is integration, it's like a two-way ball. There is power, but there is pain also. So when everything is connected, we do realize that, there is a pricing shift which happens and it affects the finance, or there is a valuation tweak and that affects the costing. There is a new interface that has suddenly come in, and, this affects the system stability. So over time, these are the things that sort of multiply, and this kind of complexity, it grows year after year. And that is why, even though ECC for you now feels solid, it is high time that you think of changing, simply because you know that you're going to be paying a lot more if you don't. So let's dig into what exactly is S4HANA. What is it offering? So it's not just, an ECC with a better screen. It's literally a redesign. It runs only on the HANA database, so there's no ifs and buts on that. HANA keeps the data in the memory instead of on the disk. So because of this, there is faster reporting, there's real-time insights, fewer reconciliations. But the only thing is that HANA will show the broken data much faster. So the benefits are going to be, again, something based on your process and how disciplined you are about the process in place. Also, if you're going to be choosing S4HANA, you're basically committing to SAP and HANA for a pretty long time, because SAP HANA support runs until 2040. So that's a pretty huge decision. You really need to understand what is it that you are locking into now. And also, where we are talking about the ABAP. So it's not just like a programming language. This is something like a business logic which is living inside SAP. And ABAP is how companies are, it's basically a lot of rules, like, for example, if a customer, this particular customer is there, then you need to do this. Or if there is this particular plant that's in place and you need to override this plant and do something else. There are a lot of rules that are basically assigned to the ABAP logic. But what happens is, over time, there are developers who change, or the documentations are missing, and there are a lot of assumptions that creep into businesses. So companies that don't really know completely what is it that is working, or why a particular logic exists, what depends on it, or what happens if something breaks and things are not moving ahead. So these are the areas where, it becomes like a logical audit that is then required. And this is usually what happens in multiple projects, where you find that the ABAP code, like nobody really remembers what has really been written. And then there is a lot of things that could be broken. You need to rewrite it, you need to test it again. And there's a lot of time which basically goes into this. And of course, the project is just basically like an endless process. It just goes on. So when we say that ECC HANA, moving from ECC to S4 HANA, it's not just a simple upgrade. This is where I gave in the ABAP explanation for that particular reason, that it's custom ABAP which needs to be reviewed. It'll have to be rewritten, simplified, retired. So a lot of old data structures are going to disappear. The processes are going to start behaving differently. And this is something where a project of ECC moving towards S4 HANA also is going to feel like a huge transformation. It's not just going to be an upgrade, because that's where your business logic was deeply embedded in. And now you're going to be moving to an entirely new system. So what are the common challenges that you could basically go through here is the custom code, which was going to take longer than what it was actually planned. The simplification is going to be, it's going to be a difficult decision to take on that. The users also, they would be resisting any kind of UX changes that would be coming in. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, that the resources are going to be a lot more expensive. So this just means that S4HANA is demanding an organizational readiness. It's not just the budget, but the organization themselves need to be ready for such a massive change. So what I'm sorry, just give me a moment. I think my system is acting up. Right. Sorry about that little goof up, but so where we were is that if we understand that there are a lot of hidden complexities that come about, whenever there is a new system implementation, and there is a lot that a company has to understand, and they would have to cross question. But the data that we have says that there are almost 60% of S4 HANA projects that really exceed budgets. Almost 40% are exceeding timelines by more than 6 months. So the average overrun is about 25 to 35% above the initial estimate that has been given. So like I mentioned, that there is a lot of complexity involved, and it's not something that you can ignore. So this is just how a big transformation happens. So whether you move from ECC to S4HANA, you got to be ready for that. And definitely what SAP is wanting, their strategy is pretty clear. They want you to move to either RISE with SAP. The bundles that are offered there are like software, infrastructure, hosting, support. So what you are doing is you're subscribing to something, but you're not really owning it. Otherwise, there's the option of grow with SAP. This is again a little more standardized, faster, but it has less flexibility. So RISE and grow are commercial models. These are not really, it's basically going to change the way you buy SAP. It's not what SAP fundamentally is. So in large programs, the real world realities really include, like I mentioned, long timelines, and there is a lot of talent shortages and budget overruns. So what we recommend is that before you commit to S4HANA, it's very essential that you do an assessment wherein you have, you sit down with your team, the ones who understand legacy as well as modern systems. You have them audit your code. You find out whether how much of this ABAP is what you actually require, how much of it really can be simplified, what is the real effort. This assessment will basically have, it's definitely going to be something that's going to be saving you from a lot of expensive surprises later on. And like I mentioned earlier, that of course migration is one word that most of the companies really get scared about, and it's something like where they wonder whether is it going to be a fruitful decision for them or not. But the real question here is that where would you really land in the next 10 years? So whether do you want subscription versus ownership? You want bundle contracts versus flexibility. You want control versus convenience. So none of these are really wrong. It's just that the mismatch is what is going to be creating a regret factor at a later point if the decision that has been taken is not accurate and something that would benefit your organization. So the alternative part here is that you as a company, it's very essential that when you do know that you are going to be making a change whatsoever, you need to understand what are the various alternatives that are really present here. So do I want to move to S/4HANA, or what is the kind of ERP that I want? What is it that I want to achieve from the ERP next? So is it a clean architecture that I want? Do I want more transparent costs? Do I want faster change? So this is going to be something that's going to help open up multiple paths for you. And why we say to future proof any decision that you take is because it's going to help in easier adoption. There are going to be few workarounds that are going to happen, and also the change adoption is going to be faster. There's going to be a lot of intelligence that is going to be embedded in that particular ERP that you are going to be taking up. And this is especially more so when you're thinking in terms of manufacturing, because within manufacturing sector, you know that there are, there's the MRP, there's bill of materials, there's multi-warehouse management, quality tracking, production, scheduling. So there is a lot of things that are multiple core things which really matter. So assuming if you are in a manufacturing based industry, then it becomes even more essential for you to, understand which ERP is going to completely future-proof entire processes that are there within you. So if your ERP is going to make things complicated, it's not really helping your business. And so giving a little bit of insights about Pragmatic here. So Pragmatic is basically been into Odoo, and that is the platform and the software that we would definitely talk about as an alternative software. Right. So, like you see on the slide, we're talking about a platform which is unified, all-in-one platform. It has finance and everything embedded into it. So, Odoo is one such platform, which is basically an all-in-one business management platform. So, a little bit of insights about Odoo, in case you're unaware of. So, it had started in Belgium, founded by 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗃𝗃, and his original idea was really very simple. What he wanted was that the business software should be powerful, but at the same time, it should be so simple that it should be usable by normal people. So it began as an open source, meaning that the code was transparent and extensible. But today, it has been used by more than over 15 million users globally. And this is not just in manufacturing sector, but there are people in retail, e-commerce, or you name the business, and they are basically wanting to make that switch to Odoo. Definitely, it's very different from the ECC platform, because ECC was designed in an era where systems were very heavy. Custom code was very normal, and businesses had the intention of just adapting to the software that was there. But Odoo is a very trendy software, one that adapts to the business. It's also, the speed is incredible. Usability, the interface factor is very good. Plus, it's highly customizable. So it operates also as a coherent system because it connects all your business platforms. So moving in now, I'll have Rufus who will be taking over. So there is a use case that he would want to showcase. And he is our main technical person who is in charge of all SAP relevant projects. And he's going to be taking over. Back to you, Rufus.
Thanks, Alvin. So yeah, hi everyone. So we have done the migration for many of our clients. They were using SAP ECC. They were manufacturing industry. They wanted to migrate employee data from SAP to Odoo. So for migration, we used many methods, but for them, main method was the first one that was like about establishing a secure tunnel for transferring data. So in this, we send a data request along with a secure access credential to the SAP side, SAP side. And from the SAP, SAP said it authenticates the credential and then sends the response back to the data through the same tunnel. So they were syncing the data. They wanted to migrate the data also, but after the migrating whole data from the SAP side to Odoo side, they wanted to sync the data between both the systems. So that's why we recommended this secure tunnel that was useful for them. So they wanted to, as I said, they wanted to migrate the employee data from one system to another. The other method we can consider for the migrations is the shared folder extraction. So in that, we will be extracting the SAP data and placing it into a restricted access folder, and then Odoo will pick up the file from the folder and process it and import the data into the system. Okay, and the third method is a guided manual upload. We had another SAP client. They didn't want to create the tunnel, but they were ready to provide the data. So we recommend them to extract the data from the SAP and provide the data file, extracted data file to us, and we will be uploading the data file to Odoo. So in Odoo side, there will be an UI where you will be placing the data, giving the extracted SAP data file, and rest of the process that will be validation, mapping of the data will be handled in the Odoo side. So these three methods we recommend most of the clients, our previous clients, and there are other methods also, but based on your business requirements, based on your data availability, we recommend the methods. So yeah, these three methods we usually use it. So,
Great. Okay. Thank you so much, Rufus. That was indeed very insightful. So coming back to when Odoo would be considered as a strong fit for you. Definitely, it makes sense when you want faster workflows, simpler workflows. You want, your teams, they want one particular system and not multiple tools. So we know that, Odoo is specifically, a lot of our clients, they are on multiple systems, and until and unless they don't we don't tell them about Odoo, they don't and they don't see it really happening, they don't get the confidence, and they then realize that, oh, we were working with so many different things, and Odoo is so simple, and we could actually integrate so many things that we are working with, and it can be integrated with Odoo, and we can still continue our processes the way we were doing. So definitely, if it's it's very easy when it comes to user adoption, because the entire interface is very simple to navigate, and it's not it's something that it's a system which can be adapted to any business. That's the main thing. However, when would you consider S4HANA as your as a safer choice for you? Like I mentioned at the very beginning, that at the end of the session, you may still stay with S4HANA. So that's perfectly okay as well. But you probably would be somebody, who would be having, you would be probably having multiple plants across multiple countries. However, even Odoo can take care of that. But still, you may be hesitant at making that move, simply because you have multiple integrations, very heavy integrations, a lot of governance in your company. And this SAP ecosystem is very deeply embedded in your business, and it's not something that you want to make the move to. And so definitely this is something that it's going to be a decision that you would take based on your business and your business requirements. So, depending on the kind of complexity that you want to really delve into, or the kind of regulations that you're tied with. So, there are multiple reasons a business doesn't want to move, and that's going to be your call. However, Odoo has the capability to really pick up everything that SAP is really offering. So what I want to do here is I'm not here to make any kind of push, in terms of, trying to, tell you that you need to take Odoo as one of your platforms. However, as per our experience, since we have been in the industry from 17 plus years, we've worked with a lot of real businesses. We have had multiple SAP integrations as well. And we have seen that, there are people who are very, very satisfied with moving towards Odoo simply because it is no longer just about just transactions or everything. It's the entire thing. The entirety of Odoo is what appeals to everybody. Plus there's a lot of AI embedded in Odoo now, as the latest Odoo 19 version which has come up. So that is having a lot of AI integrations in it. So that's yet another thing that is already present in Odoo. And you have a lot of interconnected workflows within Odoo. So definitely it eases out a lot of things. And the other thing that I'd like to mention here is that we have also Odoo Infinity, which is our own hosting platform for specifically for Odoo, so that the clients, they don't really have to worry about their infrastructure backups or any of their performance issues. So it's not just a one-time project for us. It's always a relationship that we build with our clients based on what is it that they are really going through. We want to understand the pain points. We want to understand what is it that your business is doing. How is it that you are really working? There could be a lot of discussions that can be coming up once there's a one-on-one session that we have, which is what we always ask, our clients to have that first session with us, which is a very detailed discussion to understand what Pragmatic does, what the company, the client that we are talking to, what is it that they are basically dealing into. And the entire relation starts from there, with entire clarity. And we only give clarity, and based on that, it is the decision which is taken by the client themselves. So this is what the entire presentation is all about. And I'd like to open the floor for any questions if you have. Great. So I think there are no questions. I believe it was a pretty straightforward session. However, if you are interested in making the shift, or if you just want to even discuss about the possibilities of, how as an ECC user, how and what Odoo can really offer for you, we're definitely open to a discussion. You can scan on the QR and you can connect with us directly. You can visit our website as what is seen on the screen. You can also alternatively WhatsApp us, or you can even send us an email at our support address. And we're happy to, give you a lot of guidance and walk you through your specific situation and see how Odoo fits the bill, or even give you insights about SAP, because we have the expertise for that as well. So thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Thanks again, Rufus, and to everybody who's joined in, to everybody who's going to be listening later. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.